Long ago, nestled between two majestic rivers and guarded by a ring of ancient baobab trees, lay the powerful kingdom of Wahala. Its fields stretched golden under the sun, and its hills sang with the voices of the wind. But the heart of Wahala was its people, proud, resourceful, and united under the rule of King Zuberi the Wise. King Zuberi was known across the lands not just for his strength in battle, but for his fairness and wisdom. His kingdom thrived under peace, and his name carried weight from the savannah to the coast. But as the king grew older, the matter of succession weighed heavily on his heart. The king had no sons, only 3 daughters, Princess Odana, the eldest, poised and graceful but vain, Princess Boloni, the second, lively and charming but frivolous, and Princess Chimazi, the youngest, curious and kind, though often overlooked. In Wahala, a ruler was not chosen by birth order but by wisdom and heart. And so, King Zuberi devised a test, one that would reveal which of his daughters could truly carry the crown. One morning, as the sun rose and painted the royal courtyard in gold, a horn was sounded across the palace walls. The 3 princesses, still in their silk sleeping robes, rushed into the royal court, curious and yawning. King Zuberi sat on his throne, carved from ebony wood and inlaid with golden lion heads. His eyes, once fierce in battle, now held a calm sadness. "My daughters," he began, his voice echoing, "the time has come for me to choose who shall rule Wahala when I return to the stars." The court fell silent. Even the parrots in the rafters stopped their chatter. "I have prepared 3 challenges," the king continued. "Each of you must journey across Wahala to find the one thing that will make our kingdom thrive forever. You will have 3 days and 3 nights. Return by the 4th sunrise." The princesses looked at each other, confused. "What kind of thing, Papa?" asked Boloni, twirling her hair. "That is for you to decide," said the king. "But remember, beauty fades, gold can be stolen, and laughter can vanish with sorrow. Choose wisely." With a clap of his hands, the king summoned the royal advisor, old Momania, who handed each princess a leather satchel and a walking staff made from the sacred Iroko tree. "You shall go alone," Momania said, her one cloudy eye twinkling. "For wisdom grows in silence, and true rulers walk paths no one clears for them." Odana frowned. "Alone? But what of my royal gowns and attendants?" Boloni pouted. "Can I at least bring my mirror?" Chimazi, however, gripped her staff with excitement. "Thank you, Papa," she said, bowing. The king nodded, but his eyes lingered longest on Chimazi, who quietly slipped her satchel over her shoulder and looked out toward the horizon. And so, as the sun reached its peak, the 3 princesses stepped through the palace gates, each headed in a different direction. Birds took flight above them, as if to carry news of their quest to every corner of the land. None of them knew what lay ahead, but all 3 hearts beat with dreams of a crown, and the trials that would shape their destinies had only just begun. Princess Odana chose the eastern path, where the sun rose brightest and the birdsong was sweetest. Her silk robe, though dusty from the road, still shimmered faintly with the scent of palace incense. She walked with her chin high, staff tapping lightly on the red clay earth. "This kingdom," she muttered, adjusting the gold brooch at her collar, "needs beauty to inspire it. Elegance to lead it." After several hours of travel, Odana arrived at a village nestled beside a glassy lake. Its people paused their chores to bow, not in reverence, but confusion. They recognized her royal face, though she had never visited before. An old woman with cowrie shells in her hair approached. "Princess, what brings you here alone?" "I seek what will make Wahala thrive forever," Odana said. "Do you know where I might find it?" The villagers murmured among themselves. Then the old woman pointed to a narrow path that twisted through a grove of silver trees. "There," she said. "Follow the trees to the mirror market. But be warned, not all reflections are true." Odana smiled politely and continued on her way, intrigued. As she entered the grove, the trees shimmered like moonlight in daylight. At the end of the path stood a curious sight, stalls upon stalls of mirrors, each crafted with rare stones, glimmering under the open sky. A young boy greeted her. "Welcome to the mirror market, where you see not what you want, but what you are." Odana's eyes sparkled. She approached mirror after mirror. In one, she saw herself cloaked in gold, with thousands cheering. In another, she wore a crown, but her eyes were empty. A third showed her old and alone, seated on a crumbling throne. Disturbed, she backed away. Then, an old man with a beard like roots called out, "Princess, take this mirror." He handed her a small, plain one, the only mirror that didn't shine. "This is broken," she said. "No," he said. "It shows only truth. No dreams, no fears. Just who you are when no one watches." She peered into it, and saw herself. Tired. Dusty. Still beautiful, yes, but also unsure, and afraid. Odana clutched the mirror tightly. "Will this help Wahala thrive?" she asked. "That," said the old man, "depends on whether you see yourself, or only your reflection." Odana left the grove in silence. For the first time, she did not fix her hair or posture. She simply walked, carrying the mirror close to her chest, unsure whether she had found a treasure or a warning. Princess Bolani chose the southern path, where music floated on the wind and wildflowers colored the hills. Her stride was light, her satchel bouncing on her hip like a drum. She hummed a tune and spun her walking staff like a baton, grinning at the butterflies that fluttered past. "Who needs dusty scrolls and sad mirrors?" she giggled to herself. "Wahala needs joy. Music. Laughter. That's what makes people thrive." By noon, she stumbled upon a tiny village where the air buzzed with silence. The people sat with hollow eyes and stiff faces. Children played without laughter. Even the dogs wagged their tails slowly, as if forgetting what happiness felt like. Bolani blinked. "Why is no one smiling?" An elder, wrapped in layers of dull grey cloth, answered, "The laughing well has gone dry." "The laughing well?" The elder nodded. "Long ago, our joy came from a magical well. Whoever drank from it felt light again, their sadness washed away. But now, the well is silent. We don't remember how to laugh." Bolani's eyes lit up. "A magical well? That's exactly what Wahala needs." She followed a narrow trail, marked by smooth stones, until she reached a glade filled with drooping sunflowers. At its center lay an old well, wrapped in vines and cobwebs. It was deep and dark, no echo, no glimmer. Bolani leaned over. "Hello. Water. Magic? Anyone in there?" Only silence answered. Then she noticed a rusted plaque by the base of the well. Its words were nearly gone, but she could make out a riddle. "Laughter returns not with noise, but when hearts remember joy's true voice. Tell the well your truest glee, and the gift will set you free." Bolani sat beside the well. For once, she was quiet. She thought back to times when she had truly laughed, not for attention, not for charm, but from the belly. She smiled. "My happiest memory," she whispered, "was when Papa let us dance barefoot in the rain. No rules. No tutors. Just the three of us, slipping in mud, chasing thunder." And as she laughed, a real, echoing, tearful laugh, the well gave a soft gurgle. Then a sparkle. Then a giggle. Water bubbled up, clear and glowing, humming with joy. She dipped her hand in, it tingled with warmth. She filled a small gourd with the water and tied it to her staff. As she turned to go, the sunflowers lifted their heads again, and from the village below, a baby laughed. Bolani skipped down the hill, light as a breeze. For the first time in her life, she wasn't performing. She was simply happy. While her sisters wandered north and south, Princess Chimazi traveled east, where the land sloped into a wide valley, veiled in morning mist. Her path wound between whispering grasses and trees that seemed to watch her with silent knowing. Chimazi's heart beat fast, not with fear, but wonder. She walked for hours, stopping only to drink from streams or greet passing travelers with a bow and a smile. Though she was alone, she didn't feel lonely. Every breeze carried a secret. Every bird call sounded like a message. By the second night, the mist thickened, and strange shapes stirred in the fog. Towering figures loomed in the distance, not monsters, but trees, woven into arches and bridges as if grown by a dream. And then, like a curtain lifted, the fog parted to reveal a hidden place, a vast garden, blooming with strange and sorrowful beauty. There were no gardeners, no birds, no bees. Only the rustle of leaves and the scent of something bittersweet. At the center of the garden stood a massive tree, twisted but golden, with leaves like teardrops and bark carved with hundreds of names. An old woman sat beneath it, her skin like parchment, her robes made of dried petals. "Welcome," she said, her voice thin but strong. "You found the garden of the forgotten." Chimazi bowed. "What is this place?" "This is where forgotten hopes grow. Forgotten songs, forgotten stories, forgotten people. All the things the world leaves behind." Chimazi walked between the flower beds. One bloomed with broken toys. Another with tiny paper birds. Another with old, faded sandals. Her eyes stung with tears. "Why is all of this left here?" she whispered. "Because people forget," said the old woman. "But a true ruler remembers." Chimazi sat beneath the golden tree and read some of the names etched into its bark: Eo the healer, Nuru the weaver, Ikin the drummer. Were they real? "They were," the old woman said. "Once, they shaped this land. But their names were lost, their gifts buried. Until now." Chimazi closed her eyes. She thought of the quiet people in the market, the farmers no one thanked, the weavers whose work wrapped Wahala in beauty. She thought of Mama Nia's one cloudy eye, of her father's weathered hands. "I want to remember them," she said. Then the golden tree shuddered, and one leaf floated down into her hand. It shimmered with names, a living memory. "This," the old woman said, "is the gift of remembrance. When planted, it will bloom into a tree that holds the stories of all who shaped Wahala, seen or unseen. With it, your kingdom will never forget what makes it whole." Chimazi tucked the leaf into her satchel. When she looked up again, the garden had grown brighter. A breeze stirred the petals. Somewhere far off, a child's lullaby floated in the air. She turned to thank the old woman, but the bench beneath the golden tree was empty. And so, Chimazi walked back through the arches of trees, the garden gently fading behind her, but its gift beating strong in her heart. As the fourth dawn crept across the kingdom of Wahala, golden and solemn, the palace buzzed with anticipation. The great drum of summoning was struck once, a deep, echoing sound that rolled through the hills and valleys like thunder. It meant only one thing: the princesses were returning. Servants prepared the royal court, and villagers gathered at the palace gates. The baobab trees swayed as if eager to witness history. King Zuberi stood tall despite his age, draped in his lion-embroidered robe, the crown of ancestors cradled on a velvet pillow beside him. Mama Nia stood close, staff in hand, a knowing glint in her one cloudy eye. One by one, the princesses arrived. Odana came first, dressed in fine silk with a silver circlet upon her brow. Behind her, a cart was wheeled in, covered in golden cloth. "I bring you the jewel of a wheel," she said, gesturing grandly as servants pulled back the cloth to reveal a dazzling gemstone that shimmered with many colors. It is said to multiply wealth wherever it rests. With this, Wahala will never be poor. The crowd gasped. Bolani came next, riding a white horse adorned in bells and feathers. Her hands were full of colorful scrolls, her dress now woven with ribbons of every hue. "I bring you the scrolls of endless delight," she announced, tossing one to the crowd. "Jokes, songs, dances, magic that will make Wahala the happiest kingdom in the world." The crowd cheered as laughter rippled through them. Then came Chimazi, walking softly. Her robes were plain, dusty from travel. But her eyes sparkled with something deeper than riches. She bowed. "I bring you the leaf of remembrance, from the garden of the forgotten. With it, we can honor those who built this land, the silent heroes, the forgotten hands. When planted, it will grow into a tree that holds the names and wisdom of all Wahalans, past and present." She held out the shimmering leaf. It glowed faintly, as if pulsing with memory. The court fell into a hush. Then murmurs. Some looked confused. Others curious. "A leaf?" Odana scoffed. "While I bring treasure." "A tree?" Bolani giggled. "What will we do, sit and sing to it?" But King Zuberi raised his hand. Silence fell again. He turned to Odana. "You bring wealth, but what is gold without wisdom to use it?" To Bolani. "You bring joy, but what is laughter if people suffer unseen?" Then, to Chimazi. His voice trembled. "And you, my daughter, you bring memory. The root of all wisdom. Without it, we forget who we are. A kingdom without memory is a tree with no roots." He stepped down from his throne and knelt before her, a king, before his daughter. "The crown of Wahala belongs to the one who remembers all her people. Today, I name Chimazi, keeper of memory, the future queen of Wahala." Tears welled in Chimazi's eyes. She took her father's hands and bowed deeply. Odana turned away, silent. Bolani sighed, but a small smile curled on her lips. The crowd began to chant, "Chimazi! Chimazi! Queen of Light!" Momania stepped forward, placing the leaf gently on a patch of earth beside the throne. And as the sun rose higher, the leaf shimmered, sank into the soil, and from it sprouted the first tender shoot of what would one day become the Tree of Remembrance. Years passed in the kingdom of Wahala. The Tree of Remembrance grew tall in the palace courtyard, its leaves whispering stories on the wind. Every season, new names bloomed in its bark, names of farmers, weavers, warriors, and storytellers, people who had shaped Wahala in quiet ways. The people would come to the tree, touch its trunk, and remember their ancestors with pride. Queen Chimazi ruled with gentle strength. She held councils not in grand halls but beneath the branches of the great tree. She listened more than she spoke, and when she did speak, it was with the wisdom of 1,000 voices. Princess Odana, after many moons of silence, chose to travel to distant lands, learning the true struggles of others. She returned with calloused hands and a softened heart, and became the keeper of trade, using her knowledge of riches to build bridges between Wahala and faraway kingdoms, not just with gold, but with understanding. Princess Bolani discovered her gift was not just in laughter, but in healing hearts. She opened the first House of Joy, a place where music and storytelling were used to lift spirits and mend sorrows. Her jokes became gentler, her songs deeper, and the people loved her for it. King Zuberi lived to see his kingdom bloom into a tapestry of memory, joy, and unity. When he finally returned to the stars, the people gathered beneath the Tree of Remembrance. The wind rustled the leaves gently, and his name appeared on the trunk, glowing golden. From that day onward, it was said that anyone who sat beneath the tree and listened closely could hear the voices of those who had come before, singing, laughing, and whispering wisdom into the hearts of all who would one day lead. And so, The kingdom of Wahala endured, not just in gold or glory, but in the stories that never faded. The end.